This is my second YouTube video on behalf of Ray's Vector Field Institute, and my name is Dr. Aniruddha Ray. Last day, I had told you about the phenomenon of respiration. Now, respiration is basically of two types. One is called as aerobic respiration and the other is called as anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is the respiration taking place in a sufficient supply of oxygen or unlimited supply of oxygen. Aerobic respiration has got what is called as this type of a scheme. The first is the glucose that is found within the cells of living organism undergoes a breakdown, and this breakdown is called as glycolysis. Once this glycolysis occurs, then a pyruvic acid is formed, CH3COCOOH. This is an alpha keto acid. And this pyruvic acid then enters into what is called as Hans-Krebs tricarboxylic acid cycle. Or we call it as TCA cycle. This glycolysis is the breakdown of glucose into the pyruvic acid, that is an alpha keto acid. This is pyruvic acid. Now, this pathway have been formulated by three very eminent scientists. This is also called as EMP pathway. EMP stands for Embeden-Meyerhof-Parnes pathway. Embeden-Meyerhof-Parnes pathway. This E, M, and P comes from this words, pathway, the three great scientists. Now, this is a scheme of aerobic respiration. Now, we'll be knowing about anaerobic respiration. In anaerobic respiration, the first glycolysis is the common factor. Then comes an option. One option is something like this. Either it occurs in the form of alcoholic fermentation, or it occurs in the form of lactic acid formation. Now, what is alcoholic fermentation? This is actually microbial process, alcoholic fermentation, right? This occurs in yeast. We have a scientific name for yeast also, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. And lactic acid formation occurs in case of Lactobacillus acidophilus. It is also called as lactic acid bacteria. And it occurs within the deep-seated muscles of the body. Now, I'll be telling you about the alcoholic fermentation. In Latin, fili matlab loving. So it loves lactic acid, hence it is called as Lactobacillus acidophilus. And by birth it is a bacterium. So it is lactic acid bacteria. Everything in science has got a meaning. Nothing is fairy tales over here. No Alice in Wonderland. Right. Now I'll be telling you about the occurrence of alcoholic fermentation and lactic acid formation. Can I rub it out? Yes. Now, alcoholic fermentation. Alcoholic fermentation is a biochemical process. It is a biochemical process in which a complex carbon containing substance is broken down into simpler forms by the action of enzymes produced from microorganisms under controlled conditions of temperature. This is how it occurs. C12, H22, or 11 plus, this is your cane sugar solution. Cane sugar solution. Next to take over here, Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Saccharomyces cerevisiae. The enzyme produced from Saccharomyces is invertase, and the temperature required is 30 to 40 degrees centigrade, right? And the net result is C6H12O6 plus C6H12O6. You thought it is the same thing. No, one is glucose and the other is fructose. They have the same molecular formula, but they have different structural formula. They are being formed in the first phase. Now C6H12O6 plus C6H12O6 under the same process, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, we have the enzyme zymase over here, and because of zymase at a temperature of 30 to 40 degrees centigrade, we have CH3CH2OH. This is ethanol or ethyl alcohol or ethanol. And then we have carbon dioxide. So I repeat the definition once again. Anaerobic microbial fermentation is a biochemical process in which a complex carbon containing substance, it has a formula C12H22O11, so it is very complex. It is converted into a simple stuff, CH3CH2OH, by the action of enzymes produced from microorganisms under controlled conditions of temperature. So my definition is perfect. This is anaerobic. You don't require any oxygen. Anywhere over here you don't require any free oxygen. Anaerobic microbial fermentation. Microbial fermentation. Next, this is one option. The other option can take place in our deep-seated muscles of the body. Now, the persons who are engaged in sports, those who are used to playing football, to those who are used to doing gymnastics and other sports activities, they frequently suffer from cramps, muscular cramps. And this cramps is because of the accumulation of lactic acid within the muscles of the body, right? So, and this lactic acid is also being formed by the lactic acid bacteria or Lactobacillus acidophilus. How this is formed? This is something like this, lactic acid formation. The next option is lactic acid formation. This is your CH3COCOOH, pyruvic acid. This is pyruvic acid. Now, pyruvic acid, in presence of an enzyme LDH, lactic acid dehydrogenase, this is produced by the bacterium and the muscles also, lactic acid dehydrogenase. Here 2H comes over here and it forms CH3, CHOH, COOH. This is your lactic acid. This is your lactic acid. So this is your lactic acid formation. And the other one is microbial, anaerobic microbial fermentation. So these are the two options possible with anaerobic respiration. This is respiration in a nutshell. But here I have explained to you only the concepts of cellular respiration only the concepts of cellular respiration only. I haven't gone into the details of human respiratory system since I have already covered it in the last class with you. Is it clear to all of you?